Okay, let's talk about how to remove some material from the sides of this thing. And we're going to do that by creating a sketch plane on the bottom of this. Well, I can't really see the bottom right now. So I'm going to come back up here to this cube. And if I just click on this bottom corner, you'll notice, oh, I clicked on the side. If I click on this bottom corner, ah, now I can see the bottom pretty clearly. I'm going to put a sketch plane on the bottom of this right here. Okay. And to get this to fit inside of my viewing window, I can just click on fit, and there we are. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just to make it a little easier to see. So I'm drawing right on the bottom of this, and there's some things that I'm going to need to be aware of when I'm cutting. So I'm going to change this view now that I have the sketch plane on here, and I'm going to look at it from a little bit of an angle. What I'm going to want to see on the bottom when I'm sketching this is this CO2 cartridge, because I do not want to carve away material that's holding that CO2 cartridge in. The same thing for our axles. So to do that, I'm going to right click, come down to sketch. This is just like with the windmill blades, and I'm going to click project. So what I want to do is make sure that I'm clicking on that tube. I don't want to just project the ring or the circle on the outside. I want the tube. So this is showing me where the end line of that is. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit and make sure that I get that axle. I'll zoom back out, slide this up a little bit, zoom back in, select that axle hole, and now I can click OK. So what I have now are lines and dimensions projected that let me know where other features of my CO2 car are, so I don't carve away places that I really need them to be. So once that's all set, I can come back to my cube. I'm going to click on bottom, so I'm looking at the bottom again. I can click on fit, so that way everything's lined up in there. And then this is the bottom of our CO2 car. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to need to add a construction line because we're going to mirror part of your drawing over on this. So come over to construction, click on that line. Okay. I can click on line up here. So now I'm drawing a construction line, and I want it to start at this midpoint on the bottom. Right from this midpoint, I'm going to go up, 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 up to the other midpoint. You should notice a triangle. That's how you know you're on the midpoint. Definitely make sure there's a triangle there, and then I can click that. Okay? So this is my center point. Whatever I draw on one side, I'm just going to mirror it over this line so it's the exact same on the other side. When something's the exact same on the other side, we call that symmetrical. So I can turn off construction line. I'm going to go back to my fit point spline here. All right. And I'm going to start, let's zoom in a little bit. I'm going to start right back here, and I'm going to start to curve this in. Remember, we don't want this to be too skinny. We want this to be somewhat durable. But you can make whatever shape or whatever pattern you want. So I know that that right there is my axle. Okay. And I want to make sure that this comes all the way back to this midpoint down here. All right. Once you have a curve or something that you think is pretty cool or you like, make sure it starts outside of this dot and it comes all the way down here, all the way back to the center line. You can hit the green check mark. So right now I have one side drawn, and instead of trying to match that exactly, I'm going to escape from this command, and I'm going to go up to mirror. That's this tool right here. So it's asking me, what do I want to mirror? What objects do I want to mirror? I want to mirror this entire line. Okay, that's the only thing I want to mirror. Now it's going to ask me, what's the mirror line? What do you want to mirror it over? Well, click on this blue box, and then when I select this, you'll notice that the other side is mirrored right over. I can go ahead and select OK. And now what I have is two sides that I can cut out both of these on. There is a bunch of little indications here, geometric indications. That's just telling you that this point right here is a mirror image across this line to that point. Okay, so you don't got to delete them, don't click on them. It's just information. Just like we did with the side view, we're going to do this along the bottom now. I can go ahead and click Finish Sketch. I'm going to click on one of the corners right here, and now I can press E for extrude. I'm going to chop that bit off and that bit off. I want to cut it in the opposite direction. All right, so we'll change our extent type to all. There we go, and then I'll click OK. So pretty rapidly, you'll notice that we already have our CO2 car in a pretty good position. The last thing that we can do is start to carve out some of the inside, okay? So if I go back to my left side sketch, I can go here, right click on sketch, edit sketch, and I can start to add in some other shapes or maybe another fit point spline for things that I want to carve out. Maybe it's something like that. Okay. Maybe you actually want to use straight lines for this. So maybe I'll make this straight across the bottom here and come up at an angle here and then back down. Or perhaps you want to do a combination of both. Maybe I want a straight line along the bottom here. Okay. And then maybe what I want is a fit point spline here. All right. So whatever you choose, if you're reducing additional materials, you're just going to draw that shape, go to Finish Sketch, and now we can extrude this all the way through, distance, all. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Say I wanted to take some material out of the middle there, I can go to this one right here, and I'm just going to name this bottom so that way we remember what the sketch is for. Right click, edit sketch. Okay, and I can do the same thing on the bottom by carving this out. All right, do your best. If you have questions, please ask. Make sure you pause the video and watch this thing as you go.